Today's Evening First Alert weather show is brought to you by Bresky Siding.
And a good Wednesday evening to you, Mid-Michigan. Chief Meteorologist Chris Eastlick with your Wednesday night update. Thanks to our sponsor, Bresky, as usual, for sponsoring our live stream, which we are starting to get a pretty good crowd on here. I had to mute the TV in front of me. Getting a pretty good crowd here most nights, and obviously more when the weather is active. Appreciate all of you for joining in. Feel free to add a comment from time to time if you wish. Tell me how much you love the fog. Tell me how much you love everything being soaked. Or just tell me you're sick of it like pretty much everybody is at this point. I'm fine with it being winter. These are some of my least favorite days. Foggy days, soggy days, and everything just turns to slop. But I think we'll have a chance to get some better weather for tomorrow. So visibilities are doing better tonight. That's success story number one. Your sky tracker is also much drier. That's success story number two. And I would anticipate that being the case as we go through tomorrow as well, at least most of the day anyway. And before we start to see some rain move in as we get closer to about dinner time tomorrow and into the evening, especially as we get closer to about 11 o'clock at midnight. We'll have that full timeline coming up. Sherry, good to see you. Sherry checking in the comments, as she always does. Always great to see you. Anyone else, feel free to chime in. Your sky tracker tonight actually does show a little bit of clearing. We are expecting the clouds to kind of move out of here briefly tonight. It may not be for every single location, but certainly more than they have been. And unfortunately, what that means is as these clouds kind of break up and thin out a little bit, our temperatures are going to cool down. And so what that means is likely we're going to get a little bit of fog back in the picture for tonight. And so I do think that's something we'll have to watch going into tomorrow morning. But I think the fog that moves through on Thursday morning is going to be a little bit less prone to stick around than what we have seen the last couple of days. I think it's more of a typical fog timeline where it's around for the morning and then it kind of moves out instead of lingering all day. But here's how it looks as we go through the next couple of days. And there's a couple of things that I want to show you. First, of course, is the rain chance that we expect tomorrow night and also into Friday. That is the first wave of wet weather we'll see, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Likely we'll start a little bit closer again to dinner time tomorrow for those of you who are just joining. I think the one thing that you'll find interesting for tomorrow is the warmest temperatures that we see on your Thursday, technically speaking, are likely going to be closer to about 11 o'clock or midnight tomorrow night. And I think the warmest temperatures of your Friday are going to be while many of us are sleeping. And then eventually, as we start to get up and get moving for the day, it might be warmer than what we have been seeing most days. But then it will cool down drastically even by the lunch hour and even more so as we head towards the evening. So going into the afternoon, let me back this up just a little bit. But you can even see towards lunchtime tomorrow, we may have a shot at getting the sun back. We've got a southerly winds. That southerly winds can bring some warmer air in. Bringing warmer air in typically allows the air to hold more moisture, which is typically allowing us to get out of these clouds. It allows us to evaporate a lot of that water vapor that's been trapped near the surface. And a stronger wind also helps mix things up a little bit more and disperses that water over a wider area. Once we get to 3 o'clock, though, we're starting to see the clouds return. And we fast forward to about 5:30 and 6. And even further into the evening, you start to see the rain come back. And so it might come in a wave at first, where that wave moves through. You get a little bit of a break behind that. But then you start to see it move back in. And I'll back up just a little bit, because let's go back to 3 o'clock just briefly. This is that time frame mostly during the summer. It's a little bit earlier this time of year. But check out some of those temperatures. Not bad, especially compared to where we've been most of this week. But then as we go back towards the evening hours, 7:30, that first wave comes through. We get the little break behind it. And then you've got upper 40s to low 50s, still some 30s to the north, but upper 40s to low 50s to the south. And then after that, even as we go towards midnight, check out those temperatures. Mid 50s, maybe even upper 50s as we head into the early hours of Friday morning. Owasso, Flint, and Lapeer may not even be far from 60 at times early Friday morning. Now, we're not ready to say that's a guarantee that we get that warm just yet. But our model that we show here at TV5, we can change them up to some of our other models from time to time. But the one that we show most nights is the one that you see on your screen, showing that there's potential for those middle and upper 50s, and it's not the only one. And so we could be pretty darn close to 60 degrees in some spots on Friday morning if this comes to reality. And so that would be a significant change compared to what we've been seeing. I know this looks kind of scary, kind of violent, but I don't necessarily expect any severe weather. I think this is one of those scenarios where you could get a gusty line of showers that comes through, more of a special weather statement kind of night, where you get maybe some gusts that are around 40 to 50 miles per hour. They're not quite to that severe thunderstorm level, but they do make their presence known as they come through. And then those showers move out, tapers off to mostly just a scattered coverage of showers early Friday. And you'll notice by 8 o'clock, we're still in the 50s. But then you fast forward to lunchtime, upper 30s to low 40s. And then by the time we come home on Friday during the commute, we've got mid 30s. And so be skeptical. We'd love for you to use the TV5 First Alert app, but we know that there are other apps out there. And if you're seeing something that's suggesting high temperatures in the 50s for Friday, know that that's not happening in the typical afternoon time frame. That's going to be happening closer to when many of us have gone in for the night anyway, or while many of us may be sleeping. So I want you to know that up front. How much rain are we talking this time around? Looks like about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. I think the rain will come down at a rate that makes you think in some spots that it might be more than that. But I think this is also going to be a system that's progressive enough to where it's not going to linger in a certain spot for a long amount of time. And so I think the upper level of its precipitation potential is a little bit more limited because it will be moving through fairly efficiently. And I don't think it'll hang out in any one location for a long period of time. Now, if we get some good downpours, of course, just like the summertime, rainfall totals in the summertime are really tough when you've just got these scattered areas of rain, because you could get one town that gets a good downpour for 30 to 45 minutes and get a couple of inches in a short amount of time, but then you go over to another town that just got a little bit and it's about 1/4 of an inch there. So if we get some persistent downpours in a few places, could we see some isolated totals higher than this? Yeah, it's always possible, but I think this is a good expectation for most. So let me see what we've got in the comment section. Stacy, yeah, glad we can do these live streams. Does give us a chance to talk a little bit more. Appreciate that. Nicole, hello to one of our longtime weather spotters, Michelle. Hope the cats are doing good. Michelle's got a collection of cats, but she takes great care of them and got a great heart doing that. Always love hearing from Michelle. Longtime weather spotter, as long as I've been here. Sue, good evening from Tawas. Wendy, love winter, but I want snow to go with the winter. Any snow in the future? Yeah, I think this weekend we have a chance. What a concept. Wendy wants winter and she wants snow with it, not rain and slop. Sherry, I do think we could get some thunder. I don't think anything severe, but I don't necessarily think we're going to see anything severe. Again, gusty, but nothing too crazy. Yeah, Nick coming back with that snowmobiling question. Man, I got to say, Nick, I don't feel good about it. I know I read some discussions from our Northern National Weather Service office that covers our northern counties earlier today, and they're expecting, I think, at least a loss of half of their snowpack by Friday. Let me just check while we're taking a look here. Let me see if I can find the current snow depth for that area too, because I don't want to speak out of turn, because I'm definitely not as plugged in to that area as I am down here. Looks like they've got around Gaylord. You might be okay, Nick. But I think it all depends on how much melts between now and then. Because I'm looking at Gaylord and they've got what appears to be, I can just pull this up. How about that? And everyone can see for themselves in case anyone else is interested. Give me one moment. This is the current snow depth map. Sue, good evening from Tawas. For northern lower Michigan, especially. Obviously, it gets a little worse as you go south. But if you look towards Gaylord, you've got some of that darker shading here. So that seems to be, you've got areas with at least about a foot of snow on the ground. I don't necessarily think we're maybe as much as 16 to 20 inches of snow, and it seems like we've got about maybe 8 to 12 inches in some of these areas as you get closer to the bridge. So Nick, you might be okay. I know I read not as great as it would have been, but I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. They certainly have more snow up there than they do down here. But this is put out by the Weather Service in Marquette. So Nick, if you want to look before you go, what I would do is if you search snow depth map for northern lower Michigan, I'm sure this will pop up and you can find that. So again, I would say at least probably half, according to their discussions earlier today, is probably going to be gone. So if there's, 16 on the ground, you might get spots with 8, but you also might get spots that have as little as maybe 3 or 4. But that's a very surface level analysis. I think it all depends on how much. But I'm hoping for the best. Let's go. Let me see. Just pull this up. How about that? Actually, Nick, I'm just putting it together now. In my head, I should have been better about this. You're probably going to add a little bit to that on Saturday, because here's what we're talking about. I'm in the mode of thinking you're traveling on Friday for some reason. And it may not be ideal to start Saturday, but you may be able to add a little bit more. And so let's scoot this back just a little bit. This is 11 o'clock on Saturday, and we've got what appears to be a system that splits the area with rain and snow to start, but then starts to transition over to snow as the day goes on, maybe starting as a rain and snow mix and then flips over to just outright snow further into Saturday afternoon. And so if that's the case, if you're that far north, you might be okay. You might have maybe a slow start, but maybe you'll be able to add a little bit more as you go on. I know that's a really long-winded answer, but that's how things look to be shaken out. So I think the question is, for those of you who aren't going snowmobiling this weekend, this system has been moving a little bit more to the south today, and so what that means for us here in the TV5 viewing area is the further south this goes, assuming it doesn't go too far south, is it pulls us on the colder side of the system faster. And so yesterday it seemed like we had a chance this weekend of the rain kind of lingering through the day for half the area, and then everybody switched to snow late Saturday night. This has kind of moved up that timeline a little bit. This seems like we might be able to change over to snow more in the afternoon for a lot of places rather than the morning or late at night. And so I think this deserves our attention this weekend. I'm not expecting a huge snowstorm at this point. Right now, I would say if we had to say something, maybe a low-end advisory based on what some of the current numbers look like, but it's also only Wednesday, and so there's plenty of time for things to change. So there's plenty of time for those numbers to either go up or down depending on the position of this storm. But everything seemed to be trending a little bit farther to the south today. Now the question is, will it keep going to the south, or will it start to center on more of a consensus and really lock in here over the next couple of days? I think tomorrow will be telling. I think if this is consistent tomorrow, we'll have a pretty good idea. But then once we go through Saturday night, everything changes over. You've got cold air wrapping around, and the snow showers just continue into Sunday. I think they start to become more scattered at that point and eventually just fizzle out as Sunday goes on. So that's kind of what we're looking at. As far as what happens after that, it seems like we get a small break on Monday, and we're in the mid-30s. We stay in the mid-30s Tuesday, slightly cooler on Wednesday, and we have some cooler showers to deal with. So that's kind of the summary for tonight. And no problem, Bonnie. But one more time, I'll go through the hour by hour tomorrow, just to give you a sense of the rain. We'll just start at 3 o'clock because that's when things start clouding up again. Hopefully we can get a little bit of sun back in the mix tomorrow. We get closer to dinner time, the rain starts to move in. Even more so later, temperatures starting to warm up, 30s and 40s, but then getting closer to about 10, 11, 12, and we start seeing 50s, and then maybe even some middle 50s mixing in there. It actually looked like we got the latest model coming in now, and it has cooled off some of those maximum temperatures a little bit, but I still think we'll get in the 50s. If it's not even the upper 50s, I still think we'll have lower and middle 50s as this moves through. So again, the messaging in that is the warmest temperatures of your Friday are going to be right around midnight, and then we're going to cool off during the day. So even by lunchtime, we're already back in the 30s. And then for the afternoon, it's really not much better. We're in the mid-30s by 4 o'clock, and even colder Friday night. So that's what we've got over the next couple of days. We've got rain coming through tomorrow night. Shouldn't cause any problems. Might be a little gusty as it comes through. And then the system for Saturday could start as rain for some of us, but then everybody is expected to transition over to snow later on Saturday night into Sunday. A little too early for snowfall amounts, but we'll get there. I think we may have the chance to kind of get our first real good look at those tomorrow. Yeah, no problem, Nick. Hopefully I see you on the stream next week. And let me know how it goes. Really, really hoping for you, man. I know it's, like I think I told you earlier this week, it's been a really tough winter the last couple of years for those who like winter sports. And I certainly, if you told me to pick between summer and winter for the rest of my life, of course I would go summer. I'm more of a summer guy. But I do like winter activities from time to time, and I can at least sympathize. And I know it's been tougher and tougher to plan those snowmobile trips the last several years. So I hope it works out, man. Good to see you, Craig. Craig, you're coming in towards the end. But we'll, of course, do this again tomorrow night. We might even be able to track some rain live tomorrow night as it's coming through. So hope everyone has a good night. We will, of course, talk to you tomorrow. And if anything changes in the forecast, we'll be sure to let you know and get you any updates on the weekend as soon as possible. But until then, I will see you all tomorrow, and have a wonderful Wednesday night.